Hello everybody, namaste. This is me, Neupane. Today I'm gonna tell you something about the very first poem of grade 12 English Heritage of Words that has been kept in the textbook there. The first poem, entitled Grandmother, is composed by the American Indian poet Bear. So very firstly, let's talk about something about the background of the poet. The poet was born in Meskwaki tribe in the North America. So in this poem, that is the reflection of the domination and the oppression that was felt or that was over the Meskwaki tribe in America. So the poet, the poet here talks about the two main ideas, the two main themes in the poem. They are reminiscence of towards his grandmother, love towards his grandmother, and next is the important thing is search for identity. So here the poet says that he can see his grandmother, he can find his grandmother when, even though she is miles away from him. He says that he can identify her because of the plastic shopping bag that she holds and the purple scarf that she puts her on her head. So that's the visual organ, that's the visual perception he talks about to remember his grandmother. The second second sense organ he talks is that is tactile or sense of touch. When his grandmother touches him, when she puts her hand over his head, he can easily feel that, he can easily identify that she is his grandmother. That's the tactile perception that the poet talks about to remember his grandmother. Similarly, he has used another, he has included another sense organ that is what you call olfactory, a sense of smell. The poet says that when he smells or when the smell of the roots that comes uh, through her hand there, he can easily identify that she is his grandmother. So he says that her damp and wet hand can be felt there. So he remembers his grandmother. Similarly, he says that um, he can identify his grandmother even though her voice comes from the rocks. So it means he talks about the auditory perception to remember his grandmother. This last point, this last sense organ, it has special meaning there, as the poet says that he can identify his grandmother even from the rocks. So here voice, it means it refers to the whole complete language of the Meskwaki tribe there, because Meskwaki tribe in the North America, which had been there, or the Meskwaki people who had been there from India before Christopher Columbus discovered America, they were dominated there by the white settlers, so that they were in the verge of extinction. Very firstly, they protected themselves, um, fighting with those white settlers. But later on, after the Indian Removal Treaty, their identity was in crisis, so that the poet talks about the language of Meskwaki tribe also. And similarly, the poet says that the voice of his grandmother will be just like the starting ashes of the fire that's gonna be dead. So it means the fire that's going to be dead, but it has still some hope of making fire. Just like that, the voice of his grandmother can be the motivating factor for protecting the tribe of Meskwaki in North America, that can motivate people, as as the grandmother of the poet was one of the prominent women of Meskwaki tribe. He thinks that if there uh, is his grandmother, she can protect their tribe, so that the poet is missing his grandmother so much. Another most important thing of the poem, that is the search for identity. As I told you already, it's about the search for identity. The Meskwaki people, they are in the domination. They were in the domination. They were uh, often suppressed or dominated by the white settlers in the North America. So the poet talks about the domination, the oppression, and the discrimination um, over the Meskwaki tribe in North America. So you have to talk about the two main themes, and you have to talk about you have to support the first main, the love and reminiscence of the grandmother. So you have to talk about the four sense organs. First one, visual, a sense of seeing. He can easily identify his grandmother because of her plastic shopping bag. And next is the purple scarf there. So next, second perception that the poet talks about here is that is tactile, a sense of touch. When his grandmother touches her, he can easily identify that she is his grandmother. Her damp and wet hand he remembers. And next he talks about that's smell, right? So that is olfactory. We say that olfactory sense organs, sense perception. So when he smells, when he smells the roots, or when the smell of roots or spices comes from her body, he can identify that she is his grandmother. Next is that auditory. When he listens, when he hears the voice even from the rocks, he can identify that she is his grandmother. So please don't forget to talk about the next important aspect. That's the hidden, that's the contextual aspect, that's the connotative meaning of the poem, that is the starts for identity. So this is about the very basic summary of the poem. And the next thing is that the poet has used so many techniques in the poem. You can see that very first, the poet starts his poem. If I were to see her, you see, if I were to see her, say from the mile away, there he uses the first word with the small letter. The initial of the letter is written in small. If I is written in small. If of I is written in small. Next is I. We write I everywhere in the capital. But the poet has violated this rule. So this rule, this violation of capitalization, this has special meaning in this poem. That is, the poet wants to show or wants to tell that he is inferior, or his tribe is in the verge of extinction, is in the verge of dying. So the poet is making himself inferior, or the poet is telling that the Meskwaki tribe is inferior because the tribe could not protect itself from the domination and from the discrimination in North America. So you have to talk about the violation of capitalization, something very small, very minor thing. They can have big meaning in literature. So that this violation of capitalization is another most important thing here. So overall, let's talk about the possible questions that might be asked in your exam. Clearly, sometimes you might be asked to write a summary. So while writing summary, you have to talk about the two main things I told you just now. Love and reminiscence of the grandmother. Next is source for identity. You have to support the love and reminiscence by four sense perception. And source for identity, you have to talk about the discrimination, domination, and separation over the Meskwaki tribe by the white settlers or the white Americans in North America. So you have to support it. And next, frequently, the question is being asked frequently: how does the poet remember his grandmother? So you can talk about this different sense perceptions that the poet has talked there to remember his grandmother, the four sense organs. So next, the important thing is, how does the poem, or how does the poet talk about the discrimination or the domination of Meskwaki tribe uh, in the poem? So you have to talk about the last thing that the poet say. The poet just compares the voice of his grandmother with the staring ashes, as the staring ashes can still, okay, or there is still hope for making fire from the staring ashes. The poet says that the voice of his grandmother can be very, very prominent or very important thing for preserving his tribe, or for helping him to move ahead. So just like that, the poet talks about the domination or separation of a Mixed tribe by the white settlers. So thank you everybody. Have a nice time. So this is all about the poem Grandmother by Rayung Bear. Thank you.